Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I'm good, dude. Thank God. Living in South Florida, it's hurricane season. Currently dealing with Hurricane Ivan. I don't want to say his motherfucker's name is. I could be wrong, but yeah, dude, it's pretty scary actually. Like south of me and north of me, people got hit by tornadoes. Like, shit. Yeah, dude. Like my boy lives in an apartment complex that's like 40 minutes north, and dude, 3 cars on top of each other from the wind. Fucking tree fell through the building. And then a couple planes, like smaller planes at a smaller airport in Hollywood, which is 40 minutes south of me, dude, completely spinned over, like on the crazy shit. So like, shit. Yeah, bro, we dodged, I mean, knock on wood, this shit's like still technically around for the next like 7 or 8 hours. But yeah, man, so thank God, you guys are hearing this pod, like, shit could be much worse. So very grateful. I do have another leak in my roof though, bro. So that's annoying. Yeah, that's fucking annoying, dude. So gonna have to get the roofer back out here. Hopefully I can like get him to give me a discount because I'm like, bro, you missed that spot last time. Like that's kind of on you kind of a thing. But again, shit could be much worse. So yeah, man, life is good right now. Heading to Dallas this weekend to chill with the fiance's family. So that should be really fun, man. But how about you, bro? How are things in the Bay looking?
Yeah, before we get to me, just real quick question on the hurricane stuff. I mean, you lived in Florida for the longest time now. And this happens every year, correct? Like the hurricanes?
It's hurricane season every year. So from, I would say mid-July through the end of October, everyone's on alert and you're aware of like, what's happening, the Caribbeans, because, if it starts getting bad around there, you're like, all right, we got 5 or 7 days to figure this out. Mm-hmm. So, but as far as like, I've only been through in my 17 years, is it 17 years, 2007? 15 years. So this is my second hurricane. The other one was Hurricane Irma, which was 5 years ago. And I didn't stay, bro. I left. I packed up, like I tied down all my like outdoor furniture in my apartment complex, and I just dipped to South Carolina. So I've never hunkered down and just like dealt with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, is it like relatively safe if you're not near the coast, or is it like every year people just have to be on alert, like where it is and where the eye of the storm is and shit?
Yeah, you just have to be aware, bro, because I'm nowhere near, like, I'm near a beach that's in like, it's 40 minutes away, 30 minutes away, but I'm not like right on it, I'm pretty inland, and I'm still technically in the flood zone because I have to pay for that shit every month for my HOA or whatever. But yeah, bro, if you're in South Florida, like you're always on alert throughout the year. Like throughout that part of the year. Like again, if you start seeing like shit about Jamaica and Puerto Rico start getting hit, and Cuba, because apparently Cuba's getting destroyed, like it's coming this way. And then that you just have to put your shutters up and just honestly pray for the best, dude. So we got very lucky, bro, because honestly we had a great weekend and we were like fucking oblivious to everything. And then on Monday, like the news is wild and you're like, bro, I haven't even put the shutters up. So honestly, like if it became bad today, we were just like gonna deal with it because it is what it is.
Yeah. I feel you on that. Well, hopefully you stay safe and there's no other damage to your house.
Yeah, well, I think we'll be fine, dude. Again, it's just like oh man, that sucks, as opposed to like, wow, bro, I have a hole in my roof. You know what I mean? So like it's like, again, like we were talking offline, these are very luxurious problems to have. Like I'm grateful to be a homeowner, and it's like an investment overall into the property. So like it is what it is. Just like shitty timing,
For sure. I mean, for me, I'd say the biggest change for me the past week or so is I've been abstaining from TikTok and Instagram for a bit.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro, like I miss you, man.
I know. I'm so curious to see all the memes and messages. I'm gonna need to block out like, I don't know, 6 hours or some shit this weekend and just go through all of it. But I don't know. I just found myself like just in that endless scroll cycle, not really doing a whole lot, not working out. Like I mentioned before, I'm trying to like be more productive in other ways right now. I'm still trying to learn Spanish. Hopefully Jerry Duty doesn't fuck that up because I have my first like Skype lesson on Friday. So
yeah, good for you, bro. That's pretty dope at this age to do like one-on-one lessons. That's pretty fire.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember where I got the idea. I don't know. I think in general, if you're learning a language, I just found that if you do the textbook method, you could become a pro at like writing shit, reading shit, but like you'll end up talking to someone, you'll ask someone where the toilet is and like be nervous and fucking stutter and shit. So Spanish, I mean, when I was learning Japanese on my own after college, just because I had a family friend who went out there to teach and do everything, he ended up being fluent, and I was like, oh shit, that's dope. I was like, let me teach myself and prepare. And like, I just found myself like not being able to really speak at all. At the time, I didn't even know this tutoring thing existed, but I kind of gave up on it, forgot everything. Similar situation with Korean, even though I did have a tutor for that. But for Spanish, since I already have a history of learning a lot of it.
Yeah, that base is somewhere in your brain. So I get it. It's like riding a bike, bro. At some point, the shit just comes back to you, then you'll start building on top of that.
Yeah, and it's so much more similar to English. Like, I don't have to like sit there and fucking, recreate the sentence structure for it to make sense and stuff.
Yeah, dude, so that's what fucks me up though, because I'm bilingual in both English and Spanish. So like I've actively tried to learn Italian for, on and off for a year and a half now, especially during COVID. And bro, it's so hard for me. Like, cause again, I also try to like study French when I was like in middle school, high school. And like, bro, like because I know Spanish, I think it's easier if you know Spanish, but don't know English, right? Because then you're just trying to like, you're just learning a new Latin language. But like when you know English and Spanish, dude, me trying to learn French and Italian, like I'm translating back to English and then also thinking, how would I say this in Spanish? And then how would I say, like, it's like, bro, like just so much is going on in my brain. So I think let me know how that one-on-one session works, because I feel like for Italian, that's like going to be the only way I can learn, like with a teacher. As opposed to someone, my bad about that. As opposed to someone like me just doing Duolingo, bro. Duolingo is like the easiest shit in the fucking world. But I went to Italy, I had no confidence, bro. Like,
right. Especially because like people were speaking faster and shit. And I don't know. I was just like, I refuse to learn a language if I don't have a native person to speak to me on a consistent basis. So we'll see how it goes. But you're right. The Europeans, all those motherfuckers are like trilingual, because like I guess the Romance languages are also similar and stuff.
Yeah,
so they all
but I think
French,
when you're going
Italian.
from romance to romance, then English sounds so fucking easy, right? Because they're not even trying. They're not, again, to your point, like they're not worried about adjectives and conjunctions and all this bullshit. They don't want to know how to talk to fucking tourists and like go about their life, right? Yeah. So like, dude, we had a fire captain for our boat when we went to one of the cities in Italy. Bro, he said he legit learned English just watching Friends on Netflix.
Wow.
Like just watching
That's
it, bro.
Impressive.
Yeah, dude. And dude, I'm talking about my man is fluent as fuck. And he's like, yeah, I just watched Friends with subtitles and I got the gist of it. And I just started practicing with people who came on the boat. I was like, whoa. Wow. Like, there's no way I'm watching an Italian show with subtitles and learning anything.
That's the thing too, is like when I was like doing Japanese and Korean and shit, it was like, I recommend you watch all these animes or like these novellas and these Korean dramas. I'm like, this shit feels like homework. Like, I don't like this shit in general. So I can't force myself to do it. I mean, animes maybe, but I only really like one or two. And like, they're talking about superpowers and shit the whole show. So like, it's not going to be relevant in real life.
Right.
So I was just like, fuck it. I'm in California. A lot of my friends speak Spanish, including you. So I'm like, at least I'll have that and this tutor. And it'll also be simple enough to where I won't necessarily completely forget everything, like Japanese, for instance, where you got to memorize all the symbols and shit. Is just so much more difficult.
Yeah. Would you think, would you want to get to a level that even help you with like your ad stuff? And as far as like start focusing like on different markets, or is it really just more so for going about like, you're like, hey, I'm going to Spain this summer. That'd be really dope to just talk to people. Yeah. Just to have a conversation. I don't even want to be necessarily like business level proficient. I mean, that would be dope, but I feel like for me, at least, I think it would be unnecessary unless I'm planning a career where it involves like you're going to go work at whatever Spain's equivalent of your company. I'm sure if I moved to Florida and I was like at a certain level, like it'd be way easier to get certain jobs. Oh yeah. Like especially Miami, right? Cause I mean, cause really Miami and then LA, Florida is English. Like no one speaks Spanish outside of Florida. So I'd be outside of Miami. So like you wouldn't even need it like in Orlando and stuff. But
yeah,
that's good, bro. Yeah, I'm excited for you as far as let me know how that works out because I definitely would be interested in doing it, giving like Italian like one more shot because bro, I'm telling you, like that Duolingo shit's like it's the easiest shit in the world, bro. Like
it's such a trap too because it makes it fun and easy.
Yeah, it's like, bro, I just did this for 5 minutes. I could go talk to someone and you're like, oh, wow, this is not the same.
Right.
What do you mean I'm not saying where's the apple correctly, motherfucker? All right, bro. I'm glad things are good over there. Keep us updated on jury duty as well. Let us know if we get a big case. You probably can't tell us until afterwards. But
what if they put me on like the Young Thug Gunna case? Fly me out to Atlanta or something.
Oh, bro, then our boy's going to be free in no time. I'm just saying. So I guess like I feel like the biggest, I don't think there was like much of news besides obviously Rolling Loud in New York, which we'll get to shortly. But I guess something that's an interesting debate and one that we don't talk about enough, I guess old school versus new school as far as hip hop's concerned. So I think this all came about with, DJ Akademiks gets a little, loose on his Twitch streams and on Spotify. He's drinking and he was talking about, old rappers and rappers who were here from the beginning of the hip hop game, really don't have the lifestyle that seems to justify all the respect that they're entitled to. So your thoughts on all of that, and then we can go into some of the responses by other rappers, in the game.
For sure. I thought this was an interesting one because for the first time I saw like a lot of celebrities speak out. Usually like it'll be one person that says fuck Akademiks, but like a lot of notable people came out this time around. And I've been fortunate enough to see like Ak grow from, I first discovered him in like 2013. So I think I have a different opinion than a lot of people who may only see like his viral Instagram posts and shit. Because he was just like you and I, like just posting on the internet.
Nonstop. Just nonstop. Yeah.
Nonstop. Didn't even show his face. And then he got Everyday Struggle. I think most people learned about him through that.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's
in any case, yeah. And in any case, I think I was kind of annoyed by the clip itself and sided with LL Cool J. But after seeing the Breakfast Club interview, I did understand that it was kind of taken out of context because he has that like jokester kind of personality on Twitch.
But it's like dry humor.
Yeah,
so
it's dry humor.
I feel like if you don't see someone else laugh, you just feel like that's a wild fucking take. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And most people obviously took it that way, as they do most things. They see a bite-sized clip for 10 seconds and then all of a sudden they want to cancel that person. But the reason why I still resonated with what LL Cool J said is because most people within hip hop, whether or not it's Akademiks, do kind of have this attitude of if you're not relevant today and sitting on millions and flaunting all this shit, you're trash. We don't want to see you anymore. Like you're done, blah, blah, blah. And they'll even do this to rappers that were hot like 6 months ago.
Yo, facts. Think about fucking, it's not 6 months ago, but think about, dude, 5 years ago when Chance the Rapper wins 3 Grammys, and then this year alone, he's defending himself on the Breakfast Club saying, how the fuck am I washed? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and perspective is, bro, like, you don't have a hit single and we don't think you're that rich, so you suck. You know what I mean?
Right. So yeah, long story short, I don't necessarily have an issue with what Akademiks said because I know it was mostly a joke. However, I think a lot of people actually do think that way within hip hop. Granted, a lot of these quote unquote dusty old guys do tend to have like the wrong approach when it comes to educating the new school guys. Like they'll just talk shit and dip, or they'll be like, you guys do drugs, we sold drugs, as if that's like an honorable fucking thing to even add to the conversation. So I get like how Ak is kind of poking fun at those kinds of guys, and he didn't specify anyone specifically. So then the LL Cool J's and whoever else are coming to the defense of the old school in general. But in any case, I think this all just showcased some of the more toxic elements of the culture and like how people perceive everyone within it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's so we can just talk about the comments that LL did in response. You know what I mean? So like one thing that resonated with me, dude, is like another thing that only hip hop fans do, right? Or even people, artists and whoever in hip hop. It's really like perception is everything and the only thing, right? Because like when he was talking about like, no one's talking about, Coltrane and Elvis Presley and like Michael Jackson. Like no one's talking about what their bank account says right now. They're just talking about, dude, that was a tremendous artist that had a moment in time that dominated music and paved the way for other artists to try new things, right? Because I would say this, I don't think these artists get in, like the LL Cool J's, the Rakims, get enough credit for what they paved the way to be, right? It's almost like in the NBA, right? Like, dude, I think certain like Hall of Famers, their biggest contracts were what the fifth guy on the bench in the NBA makes now and doesn't play at all. You know what I mean? But those guys paved the way for you to be eating the way you want to be eating and getting obscene amount of money. So I feel like from that aspect, I'm like, bro, yeah, like I really, again, I agree. I think Ak was a little bit tongue in cheek with this shit, but it was hard to tell because he's by himself on that stream. But I feel like it's hard to disagree with anything LL Cool J said. And to take an extra level, like it kind of sucks that that's what hip hop is. It's just like, well, you're not relevant now, bro. So get the fuck out the way. Like it really is like, unless you're Jay-Z, Nas, and maybe two other people, like, dude, I don't want to hear about you. I don't want to hear about what you did back in your day. Like I don't care, bro. Like I'm here to make money, hopefully not get killed and just fucking dip as well. Like, and that's just like sad because I don't think in like in other major pop cultures, dude, any genre in that frame, like that doesn't happen again. And it's just like another thing that's unique to hip hop, but to your point, in a very toxic way.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like part of the reason is because hip hop is basically pop now. It's so mainstream, so oversaturated, literally like a new hot rapper every other 2 weeks. And I think it doesn't allow enough time for people to actually become core fans and, support the artistic in their, most heated moments where they're, quote unquote, falling off or not able to produce as many hits. Like for instance, DaBaby, I think more recently, his whatever project he put out is projected to sell like 13K or something.
Bro,
insane.
That is insane.
And he was everywhere, like 2 years ago?
Bro, a year and a half? A year ago, bro. Like it removed that Rolling Loud, I think it was Rolling Loud, right? Whatever award show it was he went off, a concert, whatever. And he made those wild comments. Bro, This dude had the #1 song in the world with Dua Lipa. Like, and now he's dropping projects that are like, dude, getting no advertisements on any of these streaming platforms, and no one's even checking for it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yep. And the worst part about it is like when an artist, like let's say him or artists similar to him, don't have as many hits or money, it makes it difficult for you to like buy into the image if that's kind of what they're building their fan base also off of. And I think that's why a lot of artists like won't give up their chain when someone's threatening to kill them and shit, because you're rapping about how tough you are and how much jewelry you got on and how nobody's gonna touch you and this and that. Like they're almost forced to live a certain
way. Dude, that's a great point, dude. Yeah. Like you're almost forced, like, bro, like worst case scenario that I can say that I put up a fight and that's going to keep me relevant for a while.
Right. And it's sad. And part of the reason why, like, I've always been hesitant to like even be a part of hip hop in the sense of being my own artist, just because of the whole image aspect. And I know I can like create my own image. Obviously I'm not trying to do, something like DaBaby or whoever else, but it's just unfortunate that in this genre, a lot of times the music can't speak for itself. It's like all the extra shit outside of it. Like, all right, I like that song, but what are you really living like? And then when you find out the rapper might have a full-time or a side job to like, keep afloat or whatever, then this nigga's broke. Like we don't want to listen to that anymore. And it's just kind of sad.
Corny ass motherfucker. Like, yeah.
Right.
He's trying to take care of his family. What a bitch.
Right. I think Roscoe Dash was like caught doing Lyft or something and people were clowning him. I'm like, so you'll clown him for this, But if he went out and sold drugs and shit, like all of a
Glorified.
sudden that might be cool until he gets caught. Then he's stupid again. And it's like, what the fuck do you want?
Damn. Roscoe Dash is in Uber though?
This was like, I think 3 years ago, someone claimed he was, and I think he even admitted it. If I'm
I'm not trying to shame him in any way, but that's wild though, because you wouldn't think, because he had a good run, like right when we were like graduating undergrad.
Yeah, like 2010 or something.
Yeah. He had because he was that song with
Hands.
Kanye, No Hands, Marvin Gaye
and Chardonnay. Yep.
Bro, you would have think that he was gonna, have a good It's again. But then they like the comment we made about Future selling his catalog for $76 million or whatever it is. Like, dude, he made Roscoe Dash made some songs. I'm sure he put some money aside, and maybe he just needs to get like a job to like hold him over in between. There's no shame in that shit, bro. So like, it just sucks that these rappers feel the rap community feels the need to clown anyone who it just doesn't look like they're fucking flossing anymore. And the idea that you're just gonna keep making millions and millions off music, I think we've been fooled by Jay-Z, Nas, and Drake to think that's the norm. The norm is a 50 Cent career. Not even 50. I'll take that back because that's not normal. 50 Cent's not normal. But I don't know, bro, like a Meek Mill. You know what I mean? Like, you around, like if you're a really good rapper, you're gonna you're gonna have hits to show that. But then over time, you're not gonna be able to stay relevant, and you're gonna go hopefully to do on other things that don't relate to music. So
right,
but again, we love this shit so much, but dude, this shit's toxic, bro. Like, and it's like almost like like when so today, like parents don't want to have their kids playing football because the shit's dangerous. Bro, like if we were parents, like there's no way we're letting our kids be hip hop artists. You know what I mean? Or at least like not like the typical part of it, right? Like it's like you hope that we have enough bands that we can just say, bro, if you want to be, I'll make you a studio. We'll have everything in the house. You want to put out music, but you're not going to be doing the normal shit that comes with this.
Right. And I think another aspect to it is the fan base is so young and immature. At least based on what I see on Instagram and the comments and everything, like it's a huge popularity contest. It's literally like high school. Like one dude's popular this year, and then another jock comes in and takes over. Then he's the hottest shit out. And then before you know it, they just can't sustain it unless they're super rare, like Kendrick or whatever. But even then, people are calling Kendrick mid and old and shit, which is insane. So like, you really can't win with these guys. You got to just make your money and pay attention to the core fan base at this point.
Right, which is why artists like Russ are so good to have that example for like artists like you. For like, it's just like, I'm gonna find a few thousand fans that just fuck with me. You know what I mean? Or a few hundred fans, right? And then like you hope that they tell their friends because they love the music that much that it grows to be a few thousand. And then, a few thousand, you're selling your songs, like you're gonna become a millionaire. You know what I mean? Like, it's just amazing because, to try to keep up with the gimmicks of what it seems like the industry and the people involved with it try to do, you're gonna get yourself either killed or you're gonna lose your mind trying to stay relevant.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know Akademiks is planning to sit down with, I think, LO and T.I. I'm sure it'll be a productive conversation. Probably won't lead to anything changing, but I think it'll kind of hopefully open up people's eyes to how toxic that kind of mentality is of if this rapper's not currently charting or flaunting a $100,000 chain, they're not really it. Because anytime they fucking die or lose a chain or whatever, then all of a sudden the blame's on them. But when they're not rocking it, they're broke. They don't have enough money, or they're lame, or whatever the case is.
So, a question though, because you have followed Ak for more than the average listener or viewer of this. So, what has been the evolution of it, right? Because if I only saw what I've seen recently over the past 5 years, I would say he's to blame for a lot of the toxicity in hip hop because he perpetuates that a lot too, though. You know what I mean? Like, I remember him on a certain episodes, just talking about bro, you're broke. I got more money than you. And it's like, bro, like, this is what we're talking. Like, who cares, bro? Like,
Yeah.
like, you're good at this and good for you for making money, but why are you shitting on this rapper who's very good at his craft as well, but maybe you happen to have to make more money off? Like, like, what has been the evolution, and why should we not blame Akademiks for making this somewhat worse?
Right. I mean, I definitely do think Akademiks should be held accountable in other ways. Since I followed him, I would say he's always been a jokester, but it wasn't until he got this notoriety that he's been more, I guess, bold and aggressive.
Super Bowl, bro. Because I remember, we're back with Freddie Gibbs. He's like, bro, I got more money than you. My mother's house is worth more than your house. And I'm like, bro, like, what are we talking about right now, bro?
Yeah. I think I would say his attitude towards calling people broke is relative in a way. For instance, I think he made fun of Rory for allegedly having like a Kia pulling up to his house.
Is Rory the white one or the black guy?
Yeah, the white one.
Okay.
So allegedly he pulled up on Ak's house in a Kia.
And he emphasizes in a fucking Kia, bro. This broke ass in a Kia at my house. You're like, bro, okay, bro.
But then again, his mom might drive a fucking Kia. So I don't know if he's necessarily clowning like the 9-to-5 regular people who have it. I think it's more so like you have the notoriety in a way that I have, but you're not getting paid as much as me for it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So he's like sunning the people that are trying to sun him and taking it, I guess, too far. I mean, it is pretty funny. So it's almost like a comedian clowning someone in a way, even though he I don't think he refers to himself as a comedian. I do think though, Ak sometimes has a chip on his shoulder because a lot of these people come after him, kind of like 6ix9ine. Like, even though 6ix9ine is very much responsible for some of the shit he says, a lot of people who like aren't even involved will like fucking poke him, and then 6ix9ine will take it from the poke is level 5, 6ix9ine will take it to 10.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what Ak will do. Like a media personality will be like, oh, Ak's toxic for the culture. And then Ak's like, I haven't even been talking about you. He'll dig up like some divorce that happened 5 years ago and then bring that up. And I don't agree with that approach. And I don't even necessarily...
But like, he only really like antagonizes if you come at him, kind of a thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And he'll just go so far to the point like you don't even want to continue arguing with him. But yeah, he does talk about like money a lot to kind of justify him being the top, media mogul or whatever in hip hop currently, or the longest time.
And it's been like, and it feels like it's been like he's been the top guy for like 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah. So I think it's just because a lot of people tend to talk shit, and maybe he hears a bunch of stuff that we're not even familiar with behind the scenes.
Oh, way more, dude. Yeah. He's super connected. Because everything that I've seen on his Spotify thing, I mean, dude, he has great guests. You know what I mean? So like, those dudes aren't just pulling up on anyone's show. So clearly, dude, he's super successful, bro. Yeah. So like, I have nothing bad to say about him besides that it does feel like all the things we hate about hip hop at times, it feels at least somewhat a part of it. Like, he's not helping stop it. It's at least what
Yeah. And sometimes he will like get serious and talk about the hypocrisy as far as, like rappers are coons and like, behaving this ghetto way. And if it was me, I would snitch, and like, these rappers, have it backwards, blah, blah, blah. But then other times he'll be like, we don't want you to, rap about this. We want that murder shit and like, blah, blah. And clearly he's joking, but it's like when your voice is at
that powerful,
at a certain level, like even the jokes can have this effect, and he's clearly dealing with that currently.
So something that's not on the rundown, but I wanted to bring up only because it involves Akademiks too. So Joe Budden is getting some pushback because he doesn't appreciate the way that some major hip hop blogs discuss artists after they pass, right? So like, I guess like he fucking ambushed, which I thought was pussy, bro. But he ambushed Adam 22 from No Jumper when he was on his show about like, how dare you post those Kevin Samuels episodes the moment after he dies, blah, blah, blah. And then apparently he got on Akademiks, who he's cool with, but he had the same energy. So good for him for being consistent, but he had the same energy about Akademiks when it came to PNB Rock. That interview, then he obviously unfortunately passed away like a week later. So like your thoughts on one, like Joe Budden making those comments about those guys, and then do you agree with any of those comments?
Yeah. I do. I admit that it is kind of weird if it's not like really relevant to the passing. Like for instance, Vlad, every time someone passes, he'll post like flashback videos of old interviews to like resurface and get clicks and stuff. And I don't know, in those instances, unless it's like relevant in some way or like really sheds a positive light on them, it kind of just feels like a random money grab.
Right, because they're monetizing off the page. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I just don't like see the connection other than this person died. Like for literally anytime a flashback is posted on Vlad's page, the comments will say, what happened to X? Like something in the news cycle is going on for him to be posting this flashback. So if it's relevant, I'm cool with it. But if it's just like blindly like, all right, this person died, let's like post any fucking possible thing that's linked to this person for views, then I think that's in poor taste. But with Ak, similar thing. I felt kind of weird about it, but at the same time, I think it was like relevant to the conversation. It just so happened the interview was like very recent as well. And I think people did want to see it. I think it's more so how like the outlets package it. If they're trying to like hurt the reputation of the person, or just doing something in super poor taste, that's one thing. But if a person dies and like they're a journalist essentially reporting on something, I don't see how that's like a negative thing. It's not like journalists get paid to do what they do still, regardless of whether it's a bad or good event. Yeah.
I agree with that, dude. I feel like in Joe Budden's situation, like him being like the hip hop police in the situation, like my thing is like, I think like you can't tell someone how to run their business kind of a way. That's my beef with it. It's just like, bro, like if they have, to your point, like, yo, everything that I saw in that PNB Rock interview with Akademiks was super relevant to the way he passed away.
Right.
Like super relevant. Like it just gave you an insight, like, yo, how this guy was thinking, how he should have been moving, things that he said. So is it sad and tragic? For sure. Bro, but I think back to myself when like Young Dolph passed away, Mac Miller, Nipsey, the list goes on, unfortunately, like a lot. Like you start looking for content because you're like, bro, I want to get an insight on who these people were, how are they moving? So like I can't blame Adam 22 or Ak or whoever if they have content about these people who clearly people want more information about, because now there's not going to be more interviews. You know what I mean? Like, so why wouldn't I want to take a deep dive into these people's life, right? That's the reason where like, so like should Apple or Spotify remove all their music the moment they die? No, because people want to listen to this shit. Like, yo, like, who was this person? Let me, like everyone who passes away, their music goes through the roof. Why? Because people are intrigued. So why would I remove or not give people exactly what they're looking for? And that's like, like, I don't get how you're mad at that, bro. Like, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But bro, clearly people, the consumer wants that information, right? Because otherwise they wouldn't fucking view it. Like it would have 10 views. And it's like, that's not the case.
Yeah. And that's half the time why these media outlets like rush to be the first to let the news out. Like everything is somewhat selfish in nature. Like when it comes to business, especially, like as long as, again, if it's not in poor taste, then cool. Like it's not like Akademiks had some crazy misleading title like, oh, this is the real reason PNB Rock died or some crazy shit like that. It was just like PNB Rock speaks on previous situations in LA or something, and he's just giving us content we want to see. I wanted to see it, but obviously some people are gonna want to cope and not have to face the reality of it. But the journalists do the hard part. They have to speak on this stuff And I think a lot of these guys like Adam 22 and Vlad and Akademiks, even though it feels kind of weird to see them, post new or old content of these people and monetize it, at the end of the day, I think for the most part, it's always shed them in a positive light and just left a good legacy for them in terms of, what they presented to the public.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it never feels like it's in poor taste.
Yeah.
Which I think it's weird that Joe Budden like attacks them so aggressively for, bro. Because like, also, bro, like at the end of the day, like you make it sound like, and this not accusing, but Joe Budden's making it sound like when these artists or whoever media person has passed away, that you're not talking about it. Like the moment PNB Rock passed away, the next episode he was talking about PNB Rock passing away for like 30, 40 minutes. And you were monetizing off that, right? So just because you happen to not have an interview with him, like that doesn't change anything. That's a weird, I'm like, bro, like everyone's talking about this. So if I can talk about this and give context from a previous conversation I had with the same person in mind, like why wouldn't I share that with people who clearly are engaged in this, looking for this?
Yeah. And if anyone should be shamed, it should be the outlets or the people who are like, footage of him, bleeding on the ground, check my story, or go to this page and look at it. Those people,
they should burn in fucking hell, bro.
Yeah.
100%.
Those people are clearly evil and trying to profit off of just pure death.
Yeah, but if this is like literal interviews, bro, like not even clips of other people. It's just like, bro, I was talking to him. He wanted to talk to us. And this is the conversation, in case you missed it, to give you better context of who he was as a person. Like, yeah, I don't know. That should like rub me the wrong way. It's like, bro, like, what are you talking about? Like, obviously you're going to share that, bro. Like, God forbid, like we were happen to speak to an artist at that level. Dude, I think we would agree, like, yo, like, let's give context, bro. Like, rest in peace to whoever. Appreciate the time you stopped by the pod and showed love to us, right? Like, that would make sense, bro. Like, why wouldn't we like re-engage in that beat?
Yeah, 100%.
But yeah, again, it was a good conversation, and if Ak and T.I. and LL Cool J sit down for a conversation, I think that'd be good TV or good content for all of us. So Rolling Loud New York happened this past weekend. I mean, I don't really care about Rolling Loud anymore, bro. I'm being perfectly honest with you. That's why, like, when we were talking about, like, they apparently all the New York drill rappers were banned. Were all of them, or just like the majority of them?
I think the majority. I mean, it was definitely, like, from what I understand, like 3 to 5 people, which I can't imagine there'd be more than that on the roster. I mean, I could be wrong, but definitely several.
Is Lil TJ considered drill music or no?
I would say no.
Okay.
I think he's more like a melodic, like crooner type, like A-Boogie.
Okay, just like always around those guys. Yeah, but I guess so. Like the big deal controversy was, no drill rappers allowed. A$AP Rocky's set being turned off, and then pictures of him going viral in the mosh pit. He claimed that some woman was just like squeezing his nuts, and he was like in. That's what he said, dude. Yeah, he was in just so much pain. But dude, I sent you that picture immediately because I'm like, bro, that's karma, bro. Like, because dude, I vividly remember you and I like 10 feet away from the mosh pit in Rolling Loud, Miami, when he said, "I'm not playing until you open up this fucking pit and lose your minds." And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, who are, like, yo, fuck you, first of all. Like, like, it's not safe. So that was funny. But bro, like, yeah, like, I don't know, these shows are getting like, I'm not saying lame, or maybe we're just getting older and we're just like not intrigued anymore. But bro, like, yeah, they keep like, I keep getting the emails about Rolling Loud here, Rolling Loud there, get your tickets early. I'm like, bro, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just the idea of it just doesn't appeal to me. And again, I know they had some cool names at Rolling Loud New York, but bro, I saw some influencers and people who I know who were at the shows. Bro, that shit did not look busy. Like, as far as capacity wise, like comparing that to previous years, I think the overall genre is just like, bro, this is just too much. We don't feel safe. Like, we're good.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think for me, I mean, the hype of the event has definitely died down for me. I've gone like 5 times at this point. It's not cheap, and the crowd is incredibly young and just too rowdy for my taste. And then from what I've seen fairly recently, like the performances were nothing to run home and gloat about. So unless it's like super cheap and down the street, I'm probably not going to ever go again. And on top of that, I feel like none of the artists out musically have really inspired me to want to go out and see, a couple songs here and there from like a ton of different artists. Like I'm much more in a mindset of seeing one artist perform, 9-10 songs, an artist that I actually care about strongly,
right.
rather than these little bite-sized snippets from like people who just so happen to be popular these past few years or whatever.
That's a great point, dude. Yeah, because I feel like those guys who run that thing, Tarek is the main guy. Yeah, and somebody else, like those guys who run that are smart, bro, because it's like 3 or 4 people you actually want to see, and then like 29 people who may have one viral moment that like just take, and I'm just like, bro, like I don't even know who you, like what's happening, right? So
yeah,
that's why like I'm never even intrigued to like stream this shit at home. I'm like, bro, I give 2 fucks, bro. Like it's 7 hours of nobodies, and then the end each day has a fire closer. But it's like, bro, like that's why I think we enjoyed Coachella, because like, bro, like I can see a fire set throughout the entire day. Like it's not just at 9:30 at night.
Right, exactly. And I don't, yeah, just the aura is not really my scene anymore. After Coachella and like a couple other festivals like that, I just kind of felt more at peace and it felt more like I belonged in a way. But now it just seems like almost like a commercialized clout chaser festival or some shit. Like I can't describe it exactly, but it just doesn't appeal to me quite as much as it.
I mean, for me, it sounds like work. Like, I don't, it feels like, bro, this is going to take too much energy out of my life to even remotely enjoy this. So
right.
I'm good. Yeah. Because like, I'm telling you, there was plenty of times in the last 3 years I could go out to the one of Miami and I'm just like, nah, there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. Right. But you do have something that is more your speed coming up Friday. So let the people know what we got going on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna see Lupe Fiasco live for the Cool tour. So he's performing his album, The Cool, which just so happens to be my favorite album of his, and also the album that it didn't inspire me to start rapping necessarily, but I did like write. It was more so a poem at the time to one of his songs from that album, or to one of the instrumentals, and it just made me realize how dope of a lyricist he was. And I was like, I want to be like that. And oddly enough, like San Francisco is one of like 4 cities he's performing in since September through, I think, the end of the month, which is kind of odd to me because I didn't think San Francisco was necessarily like that big of a stop.
But is he doing like in a classic like theater setup? Like what's the venue going to be look like?
Yeah, it's like a classic theater setup. So we have like the front row seat of like a lower balcony, and then below us is the general admission.
Oh, that's sick though, dude. If you have like the first couple rows, like that's because you can sit like, dude, GA is dope, but like you also want to sit down, not have people like just on top of you,
And also, I wasn't trying to. I mean, if I was gonna do GA, I was like, we need to be up front, and I'm not trying to show up like 5 hours in advance and shit. So we'll be close enough. That way we don't have to worry about rushing there or anything. He's doing the album from start to finish, which is dope. So I don't have to worry if he's going to do XYZ song. Super excited. I've seen him perform a few times in the past, but not to this extent. And the venue's like a 3-minute walk from our apartment, which is even doper. So super excited. He's one of those artists that I think has aged really well. Probably too complex for some people to casually listen to, but he's got hits. And I'm sure he's definitely not one of the dusty people.
No. I think he's dusty by choice, to be perfectly honest. Is anyone opening up for him since it's just like a specific album he's doing, or is it just like meant to be him?
Yeah, one dude's performing. I forget his name, but I haven't even heard of him. But apparently he's performing, and I think his nephew apparently raps as well, and he's also opening and on tour with him. So I don't know like what time I'm necessarily going to show up. I'm not too keen on seeing them and sitting through a whole fucking album, but hopefully they're dope.
Obviously, don't give away the price point exactly, but was this ticket price like in range for like when you went to see like Don Toliver and stuff, like in that price range, or is this like relatively cheaper?
For my seat, it was in that range.
Okay, which is like expensive or like decent?
I can give you the price point. I think it was, I want to say it was like $120 or something.
All right. That seems a lot, bro. Like a lot easier.
GA's like 35.
Okay. Because you specifically wanted a setup that was very comfortable.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So okay. Yeah. 35 for GA seems like very affordable. Like very, very affordable.
Yeah.
And the majority of the venue is GA, right?
Yeah. So they have a lower balcony, upper balcony. I think they have like a nosebleed one behind that. So I'm as close as you can be if you want a seat.
Okay. Because I had a similar setup when I went to see Cudi a few years ago. And that kind of seat it's still like 4 years ago, but that seat cost like $80. So again, inflation, I get it. And obviously San Francisco is probably more expensive just in general. So they charge. So cool, man. I'm excited for the videos on that one. That'll definitely be a good show. All right, bro. Anything else you want to get to, or you want to just jump into the heat of the week?
Nah, we could jump into heat of the week.
All right, heat of the week, episode 120. So shout out to us for making it to 120 episodes. We're definitely going to have something special in store for 121. So definitely tune in next week. But for you, my guy, what is one song or songs that stood out to you since our last episode?
Yeah, one song I've been bumping lately is by Jay Critch, who I think I mentioned to you. Jay Critch and Rich the Kid. It's called Lefty. If I'm not mistaken, Rich the Kid, Jay Critch is signed to Rich the Kid. He's from New York as well. And the song is it's a really dope track. The instrumental's super fire and it bumps. I think they did a great job with the hook and just overall melody. I think it's very easy to listen to and different from a lot of the stuff I've been hearing lately. So I've been a fan of Jay Critch loosely over the past couple years. I can't
more so now.
More so now. I mean, there was like, he's one of those artists where like I heard a couple songs here and there, like I just did recently, and I have it in my playlist, but I'm not necessarily like, oh, is he in town performing or anything like that. It's like I just look out for, like I follow him on Spotify basically and look out for what's coming. But I can't say I'm like a diehard fan or anything like that. Rich the Kid though, like I love Rich the Kid. Like I feel like he's super versatile. Like I've heard him on random like Asian rapper songs and shit.
Oh, dude, I love her. Ever since when we came out to Plug Walk and we saw him in 2018, I think, dude, fire, bro. Like so, that first album was everything to me. So yeah. Shout out to him, bro. I'll send me that song so I can definitely add it to my own library, but also to the Apple playlist. What's the name of the song again?
Lefty.
Yeah. I look forward to peeping that. For me, dude, an album that just really made me miss New York and enjoy everything that is a part of like New York culture. So Cameron, legendary Harlem rapper, Dipset, and A-Track, great DJ, Kanye's original DJ. They came out with a joint EP called You Wasn't There. Apparently this has been in the works since 2015. One of my favorite songs on the project is called Think Boy, featuring
Think Boy.
Yeah, THINK, Think Boy. That's featuring Jim Jones and Styles P. Bro, like everything you love about New York, and also like on a fire production from A-Track. So but yeah, all 9 songs are super enjoyable. Dame Dash on a couple of songs just talking shit and making you feel broke as fuck. So yeah, Think Boy is a phenomenal one. And this song actually came out, I'll give you a bonus one. The other song that actually came out like 5 years ago, but they redid the production, Dipshits, has Joel Sand. Yeah, that one came out a while ago. But yeah, it's that vibe, but just for like 9 songs.
Nice. Yeah, I like that Dipshit song. I'll have to check out this one too for sure.
Yeah, dude. It's really good, man. It's a great album to work out to as well. So yeah, dude. Really, Really enjoyed that, and I'll add that to the playlist. Forgot about Pete, but I would check out the overall body of work. It's only 9 songs, 27 minutes. Jesus Christ, these motherfuckers gonna murder with these fucking songs.
I know.
Yeah, imagine
like
back in the day
sometimes.
if Jay-Z turned in a 26-minute album. Bro, they'd be like, boy, get your ass to work, bro. Like,
I know.
Yo, ain't no fucking way, bro. But it is what it is, bro. I think it's just our ADHD right now that just like we can't even process anything more than that. So, which is why people will say a Kendrick Lamar is mid and old and past his time.
Right.
God forbid he gives us an hour and a half worth of music. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I know. Now people just release a single like every week for the whole year, and you're like, are you doing an album? Like, are you just gonna release music?
Yeah, but I think it goes back to like when we had Sounds Like West on the pod. Like, people just don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I think the numbers show that I can just put out a fire single every couple of weeks and you're gonna stay engaged. So like, why? You know, it's probably the same reason why people made tracks shorter, right? I think they realized like, bro, like, why?
That shit.
Yeah, like, dude, like, but I remember like, and it's wild because he was so young, right? God bless the dead and XXXTentacion. Like when I peeped him, and I'm like, bro, these songs are like 1 minute and 45 seconds. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like, because that's when like it really like 2015, 2016, 2017 is when that aggressive shift from like 3 verses and 3 hooks to one verse and 2 hooks, and that's the song. And you're like, bro, what? And dude, that's just the norm now, which is crazy. Yeah,
it is nuts. I've definitely been trying to do that, not like cut myself short or anything, but sometimes I found like, I'm like, do I really need a fucking hook for 3 times throughout the song and things like that? Or like the intro maybe is a nice instrumental that's like 30 seconds, so I don't want this shit to be extra long. So I kind of like the change, but sometimes I do wish songs were a little longer.
Like maybe like 2.5 verses. Cause like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like I went through, I was in a real like New York Jay-Z mood like 3 weeks ago. So I went through the blueprint, like the first blueprint, and like, bro, first of all, phenomenal body of work, probably one of his best. But even on some of his songs, I'm like, we probably need a 3rd verse. You know what I mean? We were good with 2. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's a throwaway verse, but it's like, you know, it's already 4 minutes long, dude. We get it. You like girls. I was like, bro, it's a long ass fucking song. Like, wrap this up. Right. But like, you wouldn't even have that mindset if you were listening to this when the album came out, because that's just the norm. It's like, no, dude, you have to have 3 verses or else you're not a real MC.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, man, times have changed and we're the old heads now, so it is what it is. But yeah, man, send me that track. I'll add to the playlist and make sure we. I'm gonna for you guys listening who actually still peep the playlist. I'm gonna clean that up for the Apple side of it and make sure that.
Same, I need to clean mine up.
Yeah, just more relevant to the things we've been talking about over the last like 3 or 4 months. So we'll make a couple posts about that on TikTok as well. So I might let the people know where they can find us. I'll get the fuck out of here.
Is there peepus at audio-theory.com. We're on all streaming platforms. We got the Apple and Spotify music playlist up there as well, which will clean up for you guys so that it's up to date. Also, the merch, please be sure to peep that. It'll be getting cold very soon, depending on where you live at.
Dude, it's already cold by you, bro. Fuck it. I keep tracking that. I'm like, sheesh.
You didn't lie. And yeah, as always, you know, please like, share, subscribe, donate, do whatever you can to help out. Did a couple interviews these past couple of weeks, so we probably won't have anything over the next few weeks, but we'll definitely keep that momentum going and maybe do something cool or new or interesting before in this final quarter before the year's up. Yeah.
For sure. All right, my dude, stay safe. I'll keep you updated with everything on my way if the hurricane gets worse or hopefully just disappears by tonight. So love you, my guy, and we'll talk offline.
Yes, sir. Peace.